A blessed day to everyone. Before the speaker presents his topic, let me first give you a brief introduction about him. He has love for nature because he finds better connection on it and he sees it as a doorway to link with God. He also loves to bike because biking makes him physically and mentally fit, so he is advising you who are listening to try and make it as your hobby. And lastly, he loves to be with people whom he can share his ideas, success, failures, experiences, and his purpose. Being able to influence and teach learners in the best way he could, with of course with the guidance of God. So without so much ado, he is John Ryan F. Villa from Pamplona, a teacher one of Curva Elementary School, your speaker lecturer on supervision and management of instruction with the topic School Administration and Supervision in Evaluation. Education plays a vital role in administration and supervision. However, it is essential first to ensure a common understanding of key concepts and terminology on administration and supervision. Is administration. The term administration doesn't refer to any single process or act. It involves organizing, planning, controlling activities, directing, human resources, evaluating, coordinating, and material resources. It also defines supervision. Supervision is a process of proper monitoring and observing to give proper intervention, guidance, feedback, and direction to maintain and attain the track of any person involved for the accomplishment of the ultimate vision of an organization or administration in a bigger perspective. As Nancy Klein says, supervision is an opportunity to bring back someone to their own mind to show them how good they can be. Remember, both educational supervision and administration are part of the educational system, and they complement each other. Although it is commonly understood that administration encompasses supervision, they still have different purposes. Ready to define evaluation in education. Evaluation in education has been defined as judging the worth of experience, idea, or process. It refers to what extent and how well have the organization objectives been accomplished. For example, did the pupils increase their competency in reading? Did the principals and the supervisors increase their competency in supervising the teaching of reading? Evaluation is the systematic assessment of the worth or merit of some object. This definition is hardly perfect. There are many types of evaluations that do not necessarily result in an assessment of worth or merit, like descriptive studies, implementation analysis, and formative evaluations, to name a few. Better perhaps is a definition that emphasizes the information processing and feedback functions of evaluation. Evaluation is the systematic acquisition and assessment of information to provide useful feedback about some object. It emphasizes acquiring and assessing information rather than assessing worth or merit because all evaluation work involves collecting and sifting through data, making judgments about the validity of the information and of inferences we derive from it, whether or not an assessment of worth or merit results. Evaluation can be considered the ultimate major function of supervision. The purpose of evaluation is to appraise the outcomes and factors conditioning the outcomes of instruction and to improve the products and processes of instruction. Therefore, educational administration in action must include evaluation. Evaluating as a function of school administration is simply determining how well educational purposes have been achieved. Significant objectives of evaluation. Number 1. Evaluation discovers the needs of individuals being evaluated and familiarizes the teachers with the pupils' needs and possibilities. It means that through evaluation, it can bring out the needs or team's competencies to be developed or improved, problems that need to have solutions, or other concerns that need to be heard and be settled. Evaluation relates measurement to the goals of the instructional program. In education, evaluation is the process of using the measurements gathered in the assessments. Teachers use this information to judge the relationship between what was intended by the instruction and what was learned. They evaluate the information gathered to determine what students know and understand, how far they have progressed, and how fast and how their scores and progress compare to those of other students. Evaluation serves as guide for the selection of supervisory techniques. Through evaluation, it can be of help in determining methods and approaches to improve administrative and supervisory plans and actions. Evaluation appraises the educational growth of pupils, which is the end product of supervision. Since the ultimate goal of supervision is for the development of learners, evaluation plays a vital role in tracking and improving the instruction. This perhaps can support and enhance interventions and programs in the quality of education for the learners. Evaluation appraises the quality of supervisory processes and supervisors' competence. It assists a person in making decisions about courses and careers. It enables a learner to know his pace of learning and lapses in his learning. It helps a teacher to know the children in details and to provide necessary educational, vocational, and personal guidance. Evaluation appraises the quality of teaching process and teachers' efficiency. It gives reinforcement and feedback to the teacher, students, and the teaching learning process. It assists in the modification and improvement of the teaching strategies and learning experiences. It also helps in the achievement of educational objectives and goals. Evaluation aids pupil-teacher planning. Evaluation is concerned with assessing the effectiveness of teaching strategies, methods, and techniques. It provides feedback to the teachers about their teaching and the learners about their learning. A planned evaluation helps a teacher in deciding and developing the ways, methods, techniques of teaching, helps to formulate and reformulate suitable and realistic objectives of instruction, to improve instructional procedures and quality of teachers. It is used to assess different educational practices. Another significant objectives of evaluation in administration and supervision is evaluation serves as a means of improving school-community relations. This means that evaluation is used to communicate the results of progress to the students, to intimate the results of progress to parents, to circulate the results of progress to schools, and at the same time to mobilize public opinion and to improve public relations. Evaluation improves the selection and use of guiding principles in supervision. It is used to adopt better educational policy and decision making. Evaluation appraises the success of the instructional program in particular and of the supervisory program in general. Therefore, evaluation is used to reward learning and motivate studies. Also, it is used to assess and give credits and appreciation for the success of the supervisory and administrative actions, but most especially in the teaching and learning pedagogies. Administration and supervision have evaluation processes, and some of the essential elements of the process of evaluation are: first, clarity of purpose and questions. Second, dialogue and reflection strategies. Next, data gathering strategies. Fourth, data collation and analysis. And the last one is reporting. Have clarity of purpose and questions. Remember, having a clear purpose is an essential ingredient of a good evaluation, for it will help identify the users of the evaluation, help identify relevant questions for the evaluation to address, help identify the extent of the evaluation, help identify what an answer for the evaluation would look like, and help focus the evaluation on using the answer. Dialogue and reflection strategies. Dialogue and reflection is a core part of any human service evaluation process. Dialogue and reflections should be embedded in all phases of the evaluation process, from the initial description of the purpose and questions to the data gathering and analysis and the asking of questions. Data gathering strategies. Some ways of gathering data are observing, listening, and dialogue. In observing, you have to bear in mind that being a participant observer is often a useful evaluation strategy. Keep your eyes and ears open. Reflect on what you see and hear. On the other hand, in listening and dialogue, it can be formal and informal interviews. Formal and informal interviews are important way of giving information to use in the evaluation process. Different groups can be interviewed, including case studies. Case studies provide the richness of what is happening in the lives of people and what the service has meant to them. Data collation and analysis can be quantitative data and qualitative data. Quantitative data can be counted, measured, and expressed using numbers. On the other hand, qualitative data is descriptive and conceptual. Qualitative data can be categorized based on traits and characteristics. The distinction between qualitative and quantitative data is not as clear-cut as is often thought. Quantitative data is often also qualitative data, and qualitative data can be quantitative data. However, it is still useful on common sense distinction when thinking about how to collate, analyze, and report on data. Reporting. The first step in an evaluation process is identifying the purpose of the evaluation. The report needs to be useful for this purpose. There are many different kinds of evaluation reports. For example, a memo to the manager, a report to the staff, a report to the clients and other stakeholders, a report to a funding body, and a final report. Evaluation process considerations. First, supervisees and supervisors should discuss grading and evaluation from the outset. The rationale for evaluation criteria methods should be explicit. It needs to be fair, equitable, and transparent process. This approach brings greater objectivity and commonality of approach across the institution and leads to the establishment of evaluation standards within an institution. It focuses also in understanding the roles and responsibilities of a supervisor to foster excellent performance that supports individual and organizational needs. Evaluation should focus on the supervisor's professional work, not personal issues. This means we have to assess on supervisor's point of view, set standards for values, behavior, and discipline, be reflective, know how to establish and communicate performance standards and expectations using behavioral terms, personal responsibility, equality and empowerment of all people, professional integrity, and respect. The supervisee and supervisor should share the responsibility for evaluation. Remember, supervisors and supervisees could complete evaluations separately and then bring them together to compare impressions. Also, apply a feedback framework to give constructive and supportive feedback within a supervisory context. Supervisees should communicate with their supervisors about any concerns they may have or ideas for improving supervision. Evaluation is a way to assess one's weaknesses and strengths. Perhaps this can be a great tool to improve instruction, guidance, and supervision. As supervisees, she or he has to seek for help and ideas to supervisors because one of the greatest responsibilities of supervisors is to develop his or her supervisees better and competent ones. Different approaches in evaluation. Different approaches in evaluation can be formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation, according to Bolmetis and Datwin 2005, it is an ongoing process that allows for feedback to be implemented during a program cycle. It concentrates on examining and changing processes as they occur. It provides timely feedback about program and services. This strengthens or improves the object being evaluated. They help form it by examining the delivery of the program or technology, the quality of its implementation, and the assessment of the organizational context, personal procedures, inputs. Also, formative evaluation helps a teacher to ascertain the pupil progress from time to time. At the end of a topic or unit or segment or a chapter, the teacher can evaluate the learning outcomes basing on which can he modify his methods, techniques, and devices of teaching to provide better learning experiences. The functions of formative evaluation are diagnosing, placement, and monitoring. In diagnosing, it is concerned with determining the most appropriate method or instructional materials conducive to learning. On the other hand, placement is concerned in finding out the position of an individual in the curriculum from which he has to start learning. And the last one, monitoring, is concerned with keeping track of the day-to-day progress of the learners and to point out changes necessary in the methods of teaching instructional strategies. Summative evaluation. It occurs at the end of a program cycle and provides an overall description of program effectiveness. Summative evaluation is a method for answering some of the following questions. Were your program objectives met? Will you need to improve and modify the overall structure of the program? What is the overall impact of the program? What resources will you need to address the program's weaknesses? Summative evaluation will enable you to make decisions regarding specific services and the future direction of the program that cannot be made during the middle of a program cycle. It examines the effects or outcomes of some objects. They summarize it by describing what happens subsequent to delivery of the program or technology, assessing whether the object can be said to have caused the outcome, determining the overall impact of the causal factor beyond only the immediate target outcomes, and estimating the relative costs associated with the object. Remember, evaluation in administration and supervision ensures quality teaching, promotes professional learning. As I end my topic, I would like to give you a thought for the day. You can figure it out where you're going if you don't know where you are. Thank you. To God be the glory.